It's April 21st, meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, let's do a roll call, please.
Member Dykens?
Here.
Member Hodges?
Here.
Member Gordon?
Here.
Chair Wise?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All righty. Approval of the agenda is the first item, approval of the agenda and the motion to approve the last meeting minutes,
I so move.
Second. Okay, so moved. All righty. Good, we had a full house this morning. Let's go ahead and any audience comments. Jenny, who do we have?
I don't have any cards, but if anybody would like to comment, please come forward. State your name and your address. John Gustafson?
I'm the current president of the PAGSC, which is the Pass-A-Grill Shuffleboard Club. We've been a club since, I think it's January 3rd, 1974. Of course, you all know that our clubhouse, that old historic building, was torn down earlier in the year. I enjoyed calling Josh Rojas. He came out, and on Channel 9 News, they showed it in fast motion being torn down. That was pretty cool, even though it was sad that it was torn down. We have a couple of questions that we'd like to ask. Last year on May 1st, there was a meeting here, and we understood that we were going to get lights back on the courts. Never happened. Now, if we want to play in the evening, we go to St. Petersburg Shuffleboard Club. They have 100 courts, and it's packed every night. Basically, besides us not being able to use our courts, Pass-A-Grill restaurants are losing their business as well.
Mind if I interrupt you?
Yes.
Were the lights previously switched and turned off from the Shuffleboard Clubhouse?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and there was power taken away from that after the storm, and I doubt it's been restored since the building's gone.
Correct.
So are you asking for interim lighting until the building gets rebuilt?
Yeah, just a timer on the light pole. The pole on the north side is just gone. The pole on the south side is still there. Unfortunately, one light is pointing at the house on the other side of 9th Street, and the other one is pointing up in the air. So even if you did put power to it, it's not going to shine on the courts. Secondly, 25% of our benches are broken. We held them together with duct tape. Just a couple weeks ago, one of our members got her finger caught between the slats and the seat, and I went and got a bunch of zip ties, but that's just a temporary fix.
Are they wooden, John? What are they?
No, they're aluminum slats. There's 3 slats on the bottom, the length of the seat, and 3 slats on the back. So it's just a matter of putting a nut and a bolt through them and reattaching them again.
That's all it is? Okay, all right.
Let's see here. The courts, we were told a few years ago that they would be resurfaced. This year we bought 8 gallons of wax just to get them to work. On court 8, for example, if you pushed a disc from one end to the other, it wouldn't make it. The courts were that rough. So again, myself and other members, we spent almost $300 just to put wax on the courts so they were playable. I appreciate, Mandy, you providing a cabinet for us. Unfortunately, it has been breached a couple of times already, and we won't be using it after the 1st of May. We don't want our stuff to get stolen that are in the cabinet.
I'm assuming it's locked, there's a break in the lock?
Yeah, I think it does have a lock on it, correct? Yeah, yeah. It's a little flimsier, kind of a plastic cabinet kind of thing, so I mean, it is pretty easy to be able to get into it. So it was a temporary fix while we took the building down so that they would have some place to store their items without having to bring them back and forth from their houses. So.
Yeah, we were working out of 2 pickup trucks last year.
Yes.
And then, let's see what else that I wanted to bring up. Oh, I was going to ask Mandy if you or one of your staff could meet one of us at the St. Petersburg Shuffleboard Club. They have basically a shed there that will show you the minimum space we need. We need space to store the cue sticks, the shuffleboard discs. We need electricity for our equipment after each use of the shuffleboard discs. They need to be sanded and polished, or waxed, I should say. If somebody could meet us there, we'd be happy to show you. It isn't a large area, but we do need electricity to run the machines. When we lost the building, we lost everything. We lost 24 folding chairs. We lost multiple tables, big folding tables. We lost blowers, refrigerator, the fountain that was inside, the 2 bathrooms. When somebody broke in to the bathrooms, what was it, a month or so ago? You know, they also stole a bunch of our equipment that was still inside. You know, I understand it happened. I was just hoping I could get some information on when something might happen, and hopefully you'd understand the needs that we have.
Yes, we do. So we did hold the community meeting down at the Warren Webster to address some of the concerns. And a lot of the shuffleboard players were at that meeting, and they did address concerns. So what we did is the Public Services Department now has the preliminary drawing that was kind of done up. It was kind of like an AI-generated drawing for the shuffleboard facility moving forward. And then we have been talking to I think Bill Lowry actually had somebody that was able to draw up some kind of design temporarily, and then we're going to be moving forward in the process. So I've just reached out to our Public Services Director to kind of get a status update on that, on where we're at with that. But we are moving forward in the process, and we do plan on replacing the facility with something out there that would be able to accommodate the shuffleboard equipment, as well as give a little bit of power so that they're able to run some of the equipment that they need. So we are still working through that process. There are other projects that Public Services have taken on, you know, that are prioritized ahead of what the shuffleboard court is, but it still is on top of mind.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you understand what the minimum requirements that we would need to maintain the discs
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, we would be happy to go down and take a look at what they have. We can send somebody.
Drive down there and back.
Yeah, yeah. Nope, we would be happy to send somebody from either Public Services or Recreation down there to take a look at it.
Take some photographs. They're more than.
I'd like to go too.
Oh, okay.
So
I have some questions of you. When I attended the meeting at Warren Webster where the shuffleboard group was there, And I understand that you guys are really interested in getting that going. One of the things that I'd like to see is, in the what can we do for you, is what are you interested in putting together and essentially operating? Because you guys operated that building before, and the only thing you lack right now is the building. So
Yeah.
now, as for temporary, I don't know if Public Works has any smaller temporary secure buildings. It would seem like it would be a small version of a lockable container. I don't know that you could provide power to something like that, even a temporary power, but some type of temporary pole that you see at construction sites that just something can plug into would provide the power that they need.
We're pretty much done in the next couple of weeks. It just gets too hot to play during the day.
Aha,
So we play typically January through the end of April.
okay.
And that's why we like playing at night, because cooler temperatures, we're not under the hot sun. We don't need to fry some eggs on the concrete just to demonstrate how hot it gets.
So if they're able to provide power to the lights, perhaps there could be an outlet for your sanding gear to sand your equipment? Is that
We'd have to be dragging the equipment back and forth.
from where?
It's about this big and this tall. Actually, we lost it in the hurricane that went out to sea. So we've got to buy a new one from Allen Shuffleboard Courts, Allen Shuffleboard Equipment Supply. Right now, we have, 3 of us have small ones that instead of doing 2 at a time and having the thing that automatically kicks the discs off, now we individually have to put one on and sand it and
I understand.
put wax on and stuff like that.
So as for the lighting, that's something that we could probably get to work on trying to figure out, getting the lighting turned on or have switches or something like that for tennis courts, but, and maybe outlets. But as for the storage thing, I don't even know if we have provisions. This is a city. It takes forever to get something like that done, unless we have one sitting there.
Yeah, we don't have actually a temporary structure, and the temporary structure that we did put down there was just that, temporary for the 3 months. Our code prohibits us from having anything down there any longer than that. So what we did is we accommodated it during their season, and then when they're finished at the end of the month, what we'll do is we'll take that unit back, we'll store it at the community center underneath the building, so that prevent any kind of damage or any kind of theft to it. So
Great.
we've already put in the work order through Public Works or Public Services, and they'll be picking it up at the end of season.
Okay, solves that problem. So let's talk about the court surfaces. From what I understand, it costs between $3,000 and $8,000 per court to resurface.
When we were quoted, it was about $20,000 to do all of the courts that were down there
Okay.
a few years ago.
How would you like to pay for that? I'm kidding.
Actually, through Allen Shuffleboard, I didn't bring it with, but I have the name of a gentleman that will do it for $1,500 per court. And he does it for St. Petersburg Shuffleboard Courts. They have 100 courts. He knows what he's doing.
You all get together. So we don't have a budget. We're just an advisory committee.
Right, I understand that.
I don't know. Is that a capital item on the list?
I don't think that would meet the threshold for a capital item, but it would need to be budgeted, probably in the FY27 budget. So we are working through that right now, and it is something that we can address with our Public Services Department to see if they would be able to add a line item for the court resurfacing in their funding
For next year,
for 27
which begins,
October.
okay. Best we can do outside of private contributions.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. We just wanted to know, basically, from Andy, has there been any progress? Because the original drawings that we saw were not going to be large enough to accommodate what we needed. Plus, of course, we want a cabinet for the outside, because every time we play, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, people stop by and say, how come there isn't any equipment available anymore? Which we supplied. We supplied disc, we supplied cues, chalk, whatever they needed to go out and play. on the shuffleboard courts. We still like to do that, but
All right, well, first of all, appreciate everybody, and your club's fantastic in terms of what you guys take on and do yourselves, so appreciate that in the city. So I think we got a plan for everything, Mandy, right?
We do, yes, we do. We'll get with our Public Services Department and we'll work out a plan to add some items into the budget and to remove the storage and try to get the courts resurfaced, so.
And can we get somebody to go out and put some bolts and some,
Yes, we do already. I believe we already have put a work order in through Public Services for that as well. So I think, yeah, we had gotten a phone message from John, I believe, the other day, and then we did go ahead and address those items with Public Services. So they'll be reaching out.
yeah, I don't want to see anybody get
no, we
injured.
don't either.
But it's stable now with the zip ties that I put on.
Okay, well,
We'll have a more permanent solution for you.
Okey-doke.
very good, thank you, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Appreciate everybody.
I also have a card from Diane Halverson, if you want to comment.
Thank you. I'm Diane Halverson, and I happen to be the treasurer and former tournament coordinator for the Shuffleboard Club. And as long as John had mentioned several things about budget and money, we really do appreciate all the effort. All of us are victims of the hurricane in one way or another, and are aware of all of the needs and priorities. There are 39 members of our group currently, and we generate about $700 in income from dues and membership, and we spent $506 on maintenance. That only leaves us $100 to $200 for trophies. I mean, we're not a big income generating group, but what we do have goes for the maintenance and upkeep of the courts, as well as throwing in the labor that goes along with that. We're not just talking about services that reach the 39 people who play on a regular basis and our guests who come, but we have community members who constantly use the services and the equipment. We no longer have a cabinet available or extra equipment available to leave out for public members to come. We are stopped regularly while we are in play during the 3 mornings a week that we play by people who want to know how to do this and how they can play. And there used to be stuff here, and why is it not here anymore? Because it's not here anymore. We would love to be able to encourage the playing of shuffleboard by members by community people who become interested and get the opportunity to play. I am very concerned as a former healthcare provider about the conditions of the courts. They are terrible. We frequently find we leave beads on the courts when because they are left there when you play, when you condition them for play. People come after we have played so that they can get use of it while they're still in better condition. But we have frequently found bicycle tracks and, I have no clue. I mean, people walk across the courts all the time. They're a potential hazard that you, as the community, and we as the users, I see real potential there for a problem without the constant maintenance and upkeep that all of our outdoor facilities require. We are thrilled that you are interested in providing us and the local community with an updated facility that we can use for both our group and for the broader community.
Okay, very good. Any suggestions? I mean, I know we're going to try to...
I think we are here to say we would love to have input. We would love to say this will work, this won't work. Let us help you. However we can work with you to help make progress occur, we are more than happy to do.
I know you guys are passionate about it, so we appreciate that. We're passionate about it, so we appreciate that, Diane.
Thank you.
Diane, I encourage you to get in touch with St. Pete Beach's Communications Director, Mark Portugal. He administers the Facebook page and notices that go out on the website and can publicize what you're doing, what's available, your club itself. And I would encourage you to get in touch with him.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. All right, anybody else? All right, so I think I kind of jumped ahead before, and we approved the minutes of the meetings from last already, so we're good on that, are we not, Jenny? Okay, all right. The next action item is election of committee officers for the 2026-2027 year. Jenny, would it be appropriate to just ask for nominations, or what's the recommendation?
Either or. You can nominate somebody or somebody can volunteer.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Kent. He's very passionate himself about all this and seems to do a great job with doing your homework, and at least that's my recommendation, is Kent for chair.
I would second that for sure.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Okay. Member Dykens to vote.
Vote?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Member Hodges?
Yes.
Member Gordon?
I'll vote for myself.
Chair Wise? Motion carries, and then we need a vice chair.
We need a vice chair. Any recommendations?
No.
Kent, you got anybody in mind for vice? Any recommendations?
Oh, anybody who wants to?
Anybody would like to do it?
Daryl, you want to be vice chair?
Unfortunately, with my traveling, I wasn't almost going to make this meeting here.
Would you like to be vice chair?
Really touch and go for myself.
Because I was appointed from the last mayor, we might have to go ahead. I think
Okay.
maybe it'd be appropriate for Lori to go.
I'll
So let's,
put my hand in then.
Congratulations.
So we just need a motion and
We need a motion? Yeah.
motion and a second.
Second?
Motion to vote?
We need a motion to,
Motion from Daryl, second from Kent.
all right, presentations from Mendy.
We do have a presentation for you today, so I'd like to introduce Mike Weaver. He is our operations manager from our Public Services Department. He's going to be here today, and he's going to present to you on the parks updates. I'll give you the recreation update, and then we can kind of go from there. So if we could bring the presentation up. All right, so let's start off with an update of where we're at with our fee study. I know we had brought the fee study to this board probably 6 months ago now, and we are still in the process of working through that fee study. So the fee study is still in draft form. No decisions have been finalized to this point. We still need to go through the Finance and Budget Board as well as City Commission. So we're building cost recovery models using actual participation data from prior years. It's okay. And the goal is to align fees with service delivery costs while maintaining accessibility. So you'll see that one of our goals is going to be in approximately 5 years to maybe reach a 100% cost recovery on non-resident participation in our programs. That's going to be one of our goals that you'll see when we bring forward to commission our budget this year. And then we're looking to implement the new fees hopefully starting in FY27. So October 1st, we'll implement some of the new fees that were discussed at this meeting. The next step is adoption and implementation following the commission direction. Facility update, so I can give you some exciting facility updates. So construction on the Recreation Center is on track to end and be completed by mid-May. We will have a clear operational plan for summer. The plan is going to be to continue to keep our summer camp program at the community center upstairs while we move our classes and fitness activities back down to the Warren Webster, just to ensure that construction, you know, with timelines and everything, there could be something that comes up. We don't want to risk running into not having a place for the children. So our plan is to still move our classes and everything down to the Warren Webster for the summer. So we are targeting a grand reopening party date on August 1st. This will be a major community moment. We're looking forward to putting together a big party, a big welcome back, and everybody come in and check out our new and improved recreation center. At our Dawn Vista, we are working towards a shared use model with Suntan. We'll get into a memorandum of understanding with them like we have in the past. And the fire department will be utilizing some of that space in that building for a fitness area. As you probably all are aware, they're using those temporary structures outside of the Dawn Vista. Doesn't really offer a lot of amenities for our fire department, so we are going to reserve a space inside the Dawn Vista for a small fitness area. The timeline is dependent on construction progress. The Warren Webster, that's currently serving as a critical operational backup space. Like I mentioned, the fitness classes will be going down there in the summer. We're super excited. So despite our construction impact, services are continuing without interruption, and we're looking forward to all of the facilities being up and running and fully functional. I'm going to turn it over to Mike now. He's going to go through some of the park's updates.
Thank you very much. That's all good. Okay, so as you can see, the park updates, there is going to be one correction to this slide when I get to it. It's the Venadale Park for the big dog park. But the Egan Park, completion of the installation of the new irrigation systems and the associated sod restoration has been completed. The sod is establishing well and showing strong and healthy growth. The Venadale Park, big dog park, we did install organic mulch for the dog park. With the installation of that mulch, we got numerous complaints. So that mulch is being taken out currently and will be left as dirt until we can find a suitable replacement for that mulch. And we are currently looking at other alternatives as we speak.
What was I'm curious, what was the
complaints? They were worried about the chips themselves, what kind of species of tree they came from.
Oh.
We were ensured that they were native, but hearing the complaints of the residents, they were very unhappy with that particular mulch. So we have taken it out.
And mulch is not mulch. You go onto the websites and the web, and you'll see that dog park mulch is very specific. And we have used the proper dog bark mulch at McKinney Park, and I think previously at Vena and others. And from what I understand, mulch came in-house. And when it came in-house, whoever ordered it apparently ordered mulch. And that was probably whatever the guy put in his truck, and we got that, and it wasn't appropriate. So that's what I understand happened. And so in terms of searching for it, it's out there.
Yes, it is.
Because we use it.
Yeah, we're currently getting bids right now to replace the
I
mulch.
was just curious.
Yes.
Didn't know there's a special mulch. Learn
Yep.
something new every day, right, Ken?
So speaking of McKinney Park, let me go back here. Oh, there we go. Completion of the comprehensive removal of the dead trees is taking place, and also the removal of the invasive landscaping at McKinney Park has also been completed. I'm going to butcher this name because I'm new to the city. The Lazarillo Park. There we go. Thank you. Lazarillo Park completion is also of the comprehensive landscape cleanup and removal of the dead species and trees, and the invasive landscaping has taken place there to improve the overall appearance of the park. So what you're seeing now is our yearly maintenance schedule for all the parks in the city, and our timelines for completion of these projects. Developing the yearly landscape maintenance schedule ensures that all major projects are planned and show clear timelines, and improves the overall park appearance and user experience, helps promote community pride and increase the usage of our park facilities. This also supports efficient allocation of our staff, equipment, and budget resources through advanced planning and scheduling of these projects. It also reduces the volume of the reactive work orders that come in every day by addressing reoccurring maintenance tasks on a consistent planned basis. And this also provides clear documentation and accountability for the completed work, especially when paired with the tracking system that we use internally and before and after reporting. This also helps strengthen the long-term planning efforts, identify trends and reoccurring issues and critical environmental needs that happen in our parks throughout the year. As you can see, we're coming up on May, so we are Our crews are finishing the citywide fertilization of our trees. We are completing any outstanding stump grindings that we have from the removal of the trees in the parks. And we're also doing weed control. Weed control is, especially this time of year, we are starting to get a little bit of warm temperatures out there. Once we start getting rain, weeds start popping up. This is an ongoing issue. As you can see, in June, we start our storm preparedness. We're getting into that season. So citywide tree trimming of all will happen. Again, with the weed control, like I mentioned before, is an ongoing thing. In July, all of our big projects stop because it's peak tourism season. And just a continuation of our yearly schedule. August is the same with our projects. We're just doing regular maintenance. The same with September. October is when we start going back into our projects, and the Dawn Vista Suntan Arts Center and Mini Side Park replacement of all the landscaping will happen there. November, the McKinney Park landscaping upgrade. In December, Paso Grill Park will get their landscaping upgrade. There we go. Okay. So what you're seeing here is our See-Click-Fix community submitted reports, the fancy graphs there. The Parks Department has adopted a more proactive approach when addressing maintenance needs, focusing on resolving issues before they escalate into a formal work order within See-Click-Fix. This initiative has resulted in improved operational efficiency, including response times and quicker completion and closure of the work orders. Additionally, we have enhanced accountability and documentation by incorporating before and after photographs into each work order, providing clear evidence of completed tasks and overall improvements. Okay, and that completes my part of the slide.
I have questions if we can stay on this topic.
Absolutely.
Okay, so general questions.
Yes.
From what I understand, and Mandy can help out on this, Mandy used to be Parks and Rec. This used to be all yours.
Right, it was all-
And now you're Rec.
Yes.
And Camden is temporary parks? Camden is full-time parks?
No, Camden is our public services director, and then there's operations managers underneath. And Mike right now is overseeing kind of the operations for the Parks and Beaches Department.
Is that permanent?
The move to public services, Parks and Beaches move to public services is permanent, yes.
Okay, so from what I understand, public services, facilities, and all of that, nobody's truly dedicated to parks in that group. They are all generic workers, or do you have certain people who are dedicated to parks?
We have parks workers, yes.
Okay, meaning they're mowing the yard, there is anybody out there driving around and looking at the parks and seeing, you know, what does it need, or
Our crew chief does, yes.
okay, planning for capital projects.
That is a combination effort of the operational managers and the crew chiefs, and as well as
And you.
The directors, yes.
Okay. Getting to the parks that you've already mentioned, I wanted to mention that Hurley Park is making the rounds in See-Click-Fix right now, and because it's a dirt and grass dog park, and dirt and grass don't work. So there's all kinds of discussion about the dogs are digging holes, dogs do that. So, and I went by yesterday, and it's a mess, and it was dry. So, what does it take to add mulch to that park? In fact, all dog parks should have mulch, and should it be let's make that part of the routine work, routine maintenance and replacement.
Well, like I mentioned in the other dog park, we're looking at options for the different mulch, like you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Those parks are also included. We're getting quotes for all the dog parks.
Excellent.
That's what's currently happening. We're just waiting on them to come in.
Okay, that's good to know. So, because parks include all parks, great and small,
Yes.
the Blind Pass parks, there are 3 named parks on Blind Pass. There's the Sunset Park, which is between the Envoy Point condos and Woody's, and it has a lot of damage. There's a small park which has sewer equipment, but people also use it for fishing. That's on the other side of Woody's. And then in the parking lot, between the parking lot of Bowie's, and Bowie's itself is a bulkheaded, small park. It had a name on it before, and it had a fence, and they're gone. But those 3 parks are in somewhat disrepair, somewhat taped off. There's no trespassing signs at Sunset. There's discussion on Seacliff Fix, what's going on, and it's been since, it's basically a year and a half. So what I would like to see is an update for the citizens, either website or actually maybe even at the site, because City Public Works has a sign-making department. And they can make signs all the time. They probably enjoy doing it. But I would like to see an update of at least, hey, we're working on it. And some work does get done, because the little mini bulldozer was out there carving out a hole in the ground at Sunset Park, right? They also destroyed part of the sidewalk and need to go mark that. It's a hazard.
Yeah, currently have a contractor that will be out there this week, actually, to remove and replace that sidewalk.
Okay, I recommend either orange paint or some kind of tape or something, because that's the only sidewalk, and it's dark, and so,
Okay,
yeah, let's be safe.
absolutely.
But in terms of the parks, I think we would like to be getting an update of where are we, and I'll ask for that in a minute, but I also think it's something that we should provide to our citizens. And it's like I said, it's been a year and a half, and it's people are starting to ask what's going on. It's time. So, I'll let you get to that and maybe give us an update, and then let's figure out a way to give updates to our citizens.
So following on that, you brought up a handful of parks. And so as I'm looking at this parks update, there's 4 parks on here, and then I see many parks mentioned in October. Is that all many parks, or is that the mini park attached to this Dawn Vista Suntan Art Center?
Those are all the mini parks.
So many parks are on your agenda,
Yes.
on your schedule, moving through, but not until next October.
Well, outside of general maintenance, yes.
So following on to Kent's comment, then, there's a handful of mini parks, or several mini parks in District 3 that need attention. Mandy, after you and I chatted, I just went in and created those records based upon conversations that had been occurring with the commissioner for District 3, with District 3 neighbors. There's one that has a dock and kayak stand that's completely demolished, roped off, with a sign that says "Don't enter," and it's dirt and weeds. And so as I was looking at District 1 many parks, they're in quite nice shape for having also flooded. They're very well kept. The grass looks really nice. There's 2 many parks in District 3 that need absolute attention, so that they can be usable, and then the dock and the kayak launch are in a state of disrepair.
Okay.
And then question, there's a kids play, a corner in Bella Vista with a play gym, and the residents have requested a sail shade to go over the top of that play equipment. And so wanted to get that on the list. So again, I just put that into the ClickFix. That's how we get it on the record, so that it can be tracked.
Okay.
The next park that I wanted to highlight is Lido. There's an owner of the land behind or to the side of the park, which creates access issues. And then there's unsightly storage containers in there. So like that area, that private area, is a question on whether or not there's a code enforcement issue. But access to Lido Park has now become an issue from the neighbors based upon all of the, I know. So these are things that just have drawn neighborhood complaints. Just throwing them out there so they're on the record, and we'll make sure that, I guess, with ClickFix, that those things get on the list. To Kent's earlier point, one of my questions was going to be, how do we track all of these outstanding items? So as the audience members presented updates or requests from things that have occurred in Pass Grill that have been on the list, that was exactly my question. Like, how do we or can we create a comprehensive list of all of the outstanding park-related items, so that we all know where they are in the update? Like, have they been budgeted for? Did they need a budget? Like, do they need a budget? Have they been budgeted for? Are they not able to be budgeted for? So to the sales shade, if there is not money in the budget, what does the city policy look like, or city rule look like on donations, where residents can fund the sales shade? Obviously, permits need to be, processed to get that sales shade implemented, but what does that look like if the residents say, fine, we'll pay for it?
Yeah, I think this is all really good information too, and what we can do is we can work with our marketing department, which is Mark Portugal. So he's a one-man band, but what we can do is we can kind of look to maybe add some of this stuff into our weekly reports that goes out to the commission and to the boards. Maybe with a tracking mechanism, and same thing with, possibly putting something on our website. But let us just look into the logistics and the feasibility of doing that before I make any solid commitments to you. But I think you're right, as much transparency as we can provide is always a good thing. So we're jotting down your locations and your requests, and then we can kind of circle back and get to some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great with these park updates to have all of the parks and maybe sort them by district, if you're big parks, small parks, and then the park.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, so like something that is comprehensive.
Right.
And then, of course, transparency is.
And I'd like to stay with you on donations for just a second. Mandy's probably going to be our expert on this. The library has a set-up donation system, and they get a lot of donations. They rebuilt that building. There were donations involved, and that would be an excellent model for us, for either neighborhoods to focus on their own park. For example, if they want to put the sail shape up, I don't know what that costs, but if they want it sooner than 1 year, they're going to have to pay for it. So, but that's an excellent thing. I know that we have an existing web page for donating trees. Or donate 2 types of trees, and so that's a good thing to have. And I was curious about the Secret Garden model. Secret Garden is, it looks like it was fully funded by private funding and is maintained privately. It looks like we have nothing to do with it, yet we own it. It's on our beach, right?
Yep, that's a volunteer group. So we do have a few options. So to go back to the library has the Friends of the Library. That's the group that goes out, and they're responsible for the donations and collecting the donations and accounting for the donations and everything. And they work in conjunction with the city. We did have a Friends of Recreation group years ago that was established, but it kind of disbanded. So we are looking at different funding sources moving forward, especially for FY27. We've gone through this revenue projection exercise in the city, and we are trying to find ways that we can kind of offset some costs. I know in recreation, Tyler's been very active in trying to get sponsorships and donations for different special events. So if we're going to have an event in the park, maybe we have a sunshade donation. So I'll introduce Tyler shortly. But, so we're actively kind of pursuing these outside the box things, and not just looking at our budget to offset all the costs. So I think it's definitely things that we can look at. Beefing up our volunteer program, again, that's going to be an task that Tyler's going to be tackling in the upcoming year to kind of offset costs for, providing the service. And we have a group already in the Don Cesar neighborhood that is actively working to kind of revitalize some of those little mini parks. They just did Row Park right there off of the Bayway. Then we had a group of volunteers, Public Works went out there, dropped a load of shell for them, and then they did all the manual labor to make that park look a little bit better. So they went in, spread the shell, pulled the weeds. I think they were looking at.
Who did they coordinate with in the city?
They coordinated with the recreation department, so with myself, and then with public services. So yeah, we're kind of working towards a more holistic approach to what we're doing, and inviting the community to participate. So
If that process can be documented so that neighbors who are complaining about this know that they could take.
Right.
where we're headed with this.
Here's what's going on.
Maybe at least with like pulling weeds or trimming bushes or whatever it is they need. I mean, the one in Bella Vista with the broken dock, I mean, that's just like, that's a hazard.
It's
That's more
called,
like the cost of not doing it. What is the cost of not doing it if somebody gets hurt or like, whatever?
well, it's roped, I went to that park, and it has a dock, kayak dock and a fishing dock, and it's the size of about a half a lot.
Yeah.
And I heard from somebody in the city that they've allocated $100,000 for that pier, which was shocking. But that was 6 or 8 months ago, so allocation and actual action, I don't know. I almost question, at a price like that, do we even need the park or the pier? That's a lot of money. But I don't know what the status is. Is that a FEMA item? Is that a capital projects item? And that's the kind of thing that we want to sign there that says, hey, this is gonna be fixed by projected date, and we're replacing or fixing the dock or something like that. And
As we're documenting all of this and creating transparency, I mean, one of the things that was mentioned earlier was prioritization. So how is the prioritization determined, and what priority are these various parks being given? Would be great to know as we're creating transparency across all of them.
And so earlier, we got off on a sidetrack, but I was asking about status on those various parks that need bulkhead and major work on Blind Pass. What's the status of that? Are we waiting for FEMA monies or insurance money? Are there contracts? Sunset Park, we just take that individually. We've got no trespassing signs and ropes all over the place. People are very good at climbing over those. It's one of, I would say, as all of our parks go, with the exception of Little League, it may be our most used park in the entire city right now, in its horrible condition. And so I think the people deserve to know, we certainly want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I think going back to your comment about putting the signs up with kind of a status update, I think that's great, especially for those heavily utilized parks. So Sunset Park is definitely a utilized park, and Fisherman's Park, same. That's a heavy fishing area. So, I mean, I think that's good. I think that we have kind of a direction to take that now and see, what we can do to try to implement some of the items that you've brought up. Yeah, appreciate it. All right, so if we could bring the presentation back up. So let's just go into the programming and childcare and aquatics update. So like I mentioned before, we did hire a new employee, Tyler Wagner. He's here in our audience tonight. He is our new programming and events coordinator. Tyler's going to be heading up a lot of city-led events and programming once we reopen all of our facilities. So he's got a big task ahead of him, and we're really excited. He'll be also kind of heading up the volunteer program that we spoke about. So we've got a lot of good things coming up with Tyler. For our child care program, our summer camp is already full with a wait list. Again, our demand continues to exceed our capacity for that program. In our aquatics division, we're strengthening our operations through the American Red Cross audit program. This is a new program that we're going to be implementing this summer. And what it is the American Red Cross has kind of like a secret shopper come in on a day not to be announced. And they'll go through and do kind of a mock simulation. They may simulate a drowning and see how quickly our staff reacts to that. And then they'll go through all of our training and our record keeping to make sure that we're in compliance. In addition to that, we're going to be doing quarterly external audits through Ferris Pools. They'll be coming in, identify any deficiencies, and we will either correct them immediately or we'll budget appropriately. And then Jay, who is our aquatics coordinator, he will be doing monthly internal audits, and he'll be performing inspections on the controls, the chemicals, the pumps, just to make sure everything is in good working order. And again, correct any deficiency or budget appropriately for the following year.
How do we get those results?
We will have all of those documented. We haven't decided really where we're going to place them. We don't know if it's going to just be an internal audit that we keep through like our Z drive, but anything is able to be requested through a records request.
I would like to see that come to us without request. Is there anything, what's the word, proprietary or decision-making or anything that needs to stay off of, because we're not
Not in these inspections and these audits that we're conducting.
So it can go on the status report? Is that
Pardon
what
me?
you're saying, like on the weekly report?
Now, I'm talking, these are actual maintenance audits. The pool is a massive facility and undertaking, has a massive amount of equipment. And so this is an outside and an inside person, giving us updates on what's going on at the pool.
But this
Correct.
is posted on a drive somewhere, right?
Yeah, this is on our drive. Yeah, this is on our drive that we're able to easily access that anytime.
We'll get it.
Send a link.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, so that's easily accessible. So moving forward too, so this is, our overall goal is we're moving toward a more professionalized, accountable operation across all of our program areas. So that's the goal of this. So let's get into, I apologize in advance for the small type on this. This is not something that I normally like to put out, but this is just a representation to you of how many co-sponsorship application requests that we've received this year. In the past, I want to say we've received about half of this amount. So this year we've received significantly more co-sponsorship application requests. With that being said, in us trying to be a little bit more conscious too of our budget, I kind of want to go through a process with you all and see where you're at and get your input. So we've received multiple requests across a mix of nonprofits, community organizations, and large-scale events. So the requests include a combination of sheriff and EMS support, fee waivers, city services, which would include trash cans, barricades, staffing requests, all of that. So this is where prioritization becomes critical. So we need to evaluate the community benefit of each of these events, the financial impact to the city, and the operational capacity, especially with fire and sheriff concerns. So basically what I'm asking today is we should consider whether co-sponsorship focuses on fee waivers and city-provided services, while external agencies such as fire and sheriff remain fully cost recovery, or are we looking to do what we have done in the past? And when we've approved a co-sponsorship in the past, we've really included everything, the sheriff costs, the EMS costs, the staff time that goes into it. So it ends up being a significant number. This year we're looking at approximately $80,000 in requests. So if we were to just go with the approval based off of the permit, so we would waive the permit fees, we're waiving approximately $12,000. And then leaving the sheriff and the EMS costs to the event producer to take care of. So let me get into that a little bit more before we make that. So we're put together this matrix, this kind of co-sponsorship matrix. So we understand that events and programs provide measurable community benefit. We want to make sure that they align with the city priorities and they enhance the resident experience. So we also want to be responsible users of the public resources. So what we would like to do is we would like to create an evaluation criteria kind of on a 100-point scale. And the criteria would be community benefit, alignment with city goals, financial impact, organizational capacity, past performance, and the uniqueness of an event. Each one would be weighted. So each one would be allotted a certain number of points. So let's say community benefit, your maximum points value would be 25. Uniqueness of event could be 10. So we go through, and we could go through the whole, each event individually. You rate them, and then we'll go down here to a level of support. So the recommendation that I'm presenting to you today is the level of support being Tier 1 full support. Full support would be the application and permit fee waivers, staff support, equipment, and marketing. That would exclude EMS and sheriff costs. That's a significant chunk of our budget. So the direction I'm really trying to go here is to exclude the EMS and the sheriff costs, and really just the full support would be application, permit fee waivers, staff support, equipment, and marketing. Tier 2, for those falling between 60 and 79 points, would be limited fee reductions and partial services. So maybe we drop the trash cans and the barricades off, but we don't provide a staff member to be out there at the event to assist. Limited fee reductions, maybe we waive the permit fee, but we don't waive the temporary structure fee if it's first stage. So that kind of thing. And then tier 3 would be not recommended, so no co-sponsorship support at all. And what we would do is we would kind of have our special events committee internally, so our different departments each have a representative that kind of reviews all of our special events. And we would have them take each event and go through this rating scale and determine the level of support, and then bring it back to you for approval. So if that is something, that you're interested in seeing, instead of doing it, like I said, as we have in the past, where we do a full approval on EMS, sheriff, everything for a co-sponsorship, then we would like to go ahead and go through this process this year and bring it back to you.
I think that's a great idea.
There's got to be some sort of methodology behind how you're making these decisions to begin with. So if you can structure that or put some boxes around it, that's probably a good thing.
But I'd like to add some comments.
Sure.
Our very first meeting, most of us were new, and we showed up and got handed a huge list of, hey, we need to give all this money away. And I asked for data. Data that included how many people were showing up. Is this, are businesses making more money because there's a massive crowds that are showing up in their business and asking us to subsidize their business? If that was the case with an 8th Avenue event that I went to see what was going on, and I think there were 20 some odd businesses that are permanently located on the street taking advantage of that, and there were booths, and it was a massive for-profit event that we subsidized. Even the fire department was out there selling hot dogs. So it was and Corey Avenue is similar, and I with my apologies to the people I know who have Corey Avenue businesses, many of their events are essentially for profit. I understand they set up the nonprofit, and that structure is good, but we don't. I also asked for information about the nonprofits. Is this, are they contributing to churches? What's going on? And we don't have that information, and I would encourage you, if you don't have it already, to make it a point for the Special Events Committee to have that.
I would like to go through, so, to elaborate on that. So in addition to this matrix that we've now put together that we would like to try out for this year, what we would require at the end of the event would be a financial summary, data on the attendance, the community impact measures such as, hotel occupancy, local business participation, charitable contributions, a brief event recap, what went well, what didn't go well, and if there was any other reporting elements that you would like to see in that post-event report.
Incidents include fire, EMS, police, or sheriff rather, incidents. I also asked at that time about the requirements for various EMS, sheriff, whatever, and I don't think we've gotten a feedback on that, and I'd like to see that. We had, for example, one of the items that we subsidized, and these poor people had to get a permit to have a Halloween party and a Halloween street party in Bella Vista. And so, and the fees are outrageous, so we subsidize those fees. We waive fees and subsidize. EMS had to be there, and thinking, you need an ambulance, your houses are here. What's going on? And I'd still like to get feedback on that too. Maybe that's something your Special Events Committee can look into and report back to us. But, and I'm not trying to be Scrooge here. I'm just wondering about if this is a holdover from a time where, hey, this is a great way to get, give overtime to all of our first responders, which it is. It's a huge amount of cash, and they get to hang around and party. But, and that's one of the things that the incidents might tell us. And there may be state and county requirements or insurance requirements, I don't know. But I'd be curious to know all of that. Because the numbers that you're talking about, $80,000, sounds like real money.
Oh, it's definitely real money. I mean, and the thing with the permits, so waiving the permits, this is why we were kind of thinking of going this direction. Waiving of the permit fees really doesn't impact our operations. We're still going to be providing an awesome event for the community. So to me, you know, if we can have a great community partner that we can help out by waiving those permit fees, that's great. But I mean, even the city, if we have to do an event, there's times that we have to pay additional to have sheriff's deputies at these events. You're still going to have to pay for EMS at these events. I mean, it's just a cost of doing business. I mean, there are certain safety factors that we need to consider. We want to make sure that each event is, you know, as safe as possible for the participants. But, you know, at the same time, we want to also look at all the fees and everything that we're charging and everything that city's taking on. And can some of that be passed back to the event organizer?
Are the event organizers asking for discounts?
They have. I mean, in the past, it's kind of been the same event organizers who have asked year over year. So they're aware of what they've received in the past, but moving forward, we just need to make sure that we're making the smartest financial decisions, but at the same time, being able to allow for all these great events to continue to happen. So we're just trying to figure out the good balance of this. So if you all are in agreement, we're going to try to go forward with this model this year, see how it works, and then bring you back the after action items on any co-sponsorship approval that we go through, and then see how we want to move forward with it next year. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we reevaluate for the following year.
One last note. I also mentioned in that original meeting and in future meetings after that, subsequent meetings, that the Corey Avenue Market, Sunday Market, is essentially run by one woman. I've seen her out there. The sheriff sometimes is there, sometimes not. There's no extra EMS, there's no fire. The fire station's a block away. But and I look at that and say, okay, well, there's clearly more than 250 people attending this. There's 250 people in the booths. So what makes that so special that the one person can, the organizer can handle that, handle it well?
The criteria.
Yeah.
What's their criteria?
Yeah, and why is it Bella Vista needs, $1,000 worth of help for a street party?
Yeah.
And frankly, if the fire department were to say, hey, we're a block away, we can walk over to any incident, the sheriff is always around. So I think that your special events committee, when they're comparing and contrasting, I want them to look at that and compare the Sunday Corey Avenue Market to almost every other item they're proposing. So why do we need to spend $5,000, $10,000, whatever the number is, on this event when the Sunday Market? Does that make sense?
It should be a criteria that is applicable and appropriate to the different types of events.
Yes.
And then back to the value that's being provided. If the value is such, then paying for the costs associated with permits and staffing and all of those things that you listed should be applied.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is a hardship request or whatever those requests look like for waiving of fees, then there should be documentation and data that accompanies that request so that it's an exception and not the norm. I mean, the city is still in a state of emergency with unfunded bills.
Well, it's how we spend our tax dollars.
Right.
What's the priority?
Right. Offering discounts before they've been requested is...
Right, so that's basically the goal of this, is to have this matrix set out, so then we have a clear defensible, reason to approve or deny any kind of event co-sponsorship request. We do have multiple events that come in and they don't request any co-sponsorship. They just come in, they know that they're a private organization and that they're not going to be approved. One of our other guidelines in our co-sponsorship request is that it's a nonprofit. So we do have a couple that have submitted that are for-profit that already will be taken out of the equation. But I just wanted to make you aware of the different types of events that we do have that come in and the number of them that you saw up on the board.
That's great.
Awesome.
I want to see them in a grid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because I want to see the people who are doing this and compare them to the people who say, hey, we need money.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes, so that's the goal, is to kind of put everything out there, full transparency of what events are privately funded, what events are co-sponsored, and what the benefit to the community is, overall. Events are vitally important to our
Absolutely.
our city. So, I mean, we don't want to discourage anybody from applying for a co-sponsorship either, but at the same time, we really do need to balance our funding and our events, so.
And we're not the last word. We're an advisory committee.
We are the
So
advisory
all we get to do is recommend to the commission, and we can speak to our individual commissioners and say, hey, we're throwing this at you, this is what we think. And they can do what they like with it. And they say, oh, Parks and Rec are full of it. We're giving all this money away. Or vice versa, or the opposite.
So, Jamie, if we can go back one more time to the presentation. And then, all right, so we're just going to end on a kind of a high note here. So we have some upcoming city events. Tyler, like I mentioned before, has been actively planning on a July 4th celebration. It is America's 250th anniversary, birthday, whatever. And so we are very excited about some new things for our 4th of July celebration, in addition to the fireworks that we will be holding down here on the east end of Corey Avenue. We are going to have our grand reopening party in August. Got October concerts coming up, always a hit, a Halloween event, and we are bringing back the boat parade with a Festival of Trees and a viewing party. We have a partner that we're working with on our boat parade in an effort to try to get some boats registered and signed up. I say some boats, like we're setting the bar a little low this year. If we need some boats to get the parade, up and going again.
One or two, though.
We need more than one or two, but I have a strong feeling that we're going to have a pretty solid boat parade event this year. So,
What about sponsorship? Are there any like marine boat dealers or something?
we're going to be going after as many.
Manufacturers that might sponsor something like this?
Yeah, we've done, Marine Max has been a sponsor in the past, as well as Paso Grill Marina has been a sponsor of our boat parade in the past. So we're going to be looking at all avenues to try to beef up this event and make it as great and as a hometown feel as we possibly can. So,
And don't forget the golf carts.
golf carts. We have golf cart parade in Paso Grill. There's multiple golf cart parades in Paso Grill, Memorial Day, 4th of July, and I want to say Halloween maybe?
It's the future. It's the future of our island, so
Yeah.
let's embrace it.
How is the golf cart parade publicized?
It's right now, that's kind of just done through their neighborhood association down in Paso Grill. But they did submit special event applications for all three of them, because they are using the roads. It's not necessarily a road closure because they just go with the flow of traffic, but to make sure that everything is kind of on the even keel. So that's something that we will probably announce and put at least into our weekly reports with commission and the boards, as well as on our website when we do a full list of revamping of our special event area on our website. I failed to mention too, with our special event process, that we are moving towards, right now, how we get these special events is they'll either email myself or they put it in through the website. We're going to put all of our special events to iWorks. So it'll be fully transparent to both the residents and to the other city departments so that we can all have comments and input onto them. So,
Fantastic.
It'd be nice to know all the different things that are.
yeah, we'll
Like I said, I haven't seen like a
comprehensive list of events
like
in a long time.
calendar or anything like what's going on around the city, different times.
So we have that. It's going on to our special event website page.
And then is there a push to Pinellas County so that it gets on the St. Pete Clearwater, or I'm sorry, to the Chamber, it gets on their events pages as well? They do an enormous amount of marketing.
They do a ton of marketing. So we haven't to this point, but that's something that we'll definitely take into consideration and try to move forward with. We're taking kind of our baby step ways of getting there. We want to get it at least on our website first, and then maybe, push it out to the county.
I mean, something to think about just in terms of attendance. So like as these event organizers may be asking for discounts, if we say, well, in lieu of, we'll work with the chamber and get this marketed and promoted in a much bigger amplification.
It's a great idea.
Yep.
Okay, that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
Fantastic as usual.
Thanks.
And welcome, Mike and Tyler. Appreciate that. All right, the next item is any new items for discussion. There's nothing brought up so far.
Have we forgotten anything?
I got all of my questions
Yeah, let's
answered, so
take
I'm
care of it.
super happy
All
about
right.
that, yes. Thank you.
All right, well, with that, we will adjourn. Thank you very much, everybody.
Wait, do you need a
Thank you.
motion or-